Hey, how's it going? The year is 1996, and agents arrive at a hospital to gather several orphaned babies to be sent to the Atom program, where they will become perfect soldiers. The training program is extremely challenging, teaching them that weakness is not an option, and they must be flawless at all times. They follow orders without any emotion or questioning, and the training always involves a lot of violence. At the age of 8, their mental and physical training advances as they solve various puzzles and strategic problems. By the time they turn 12, the training becomes brutal, and they have to run kilometers every day to maintain their physical conditioning. Those who fall behind are eliminated because the program has no room for the weak. As teenagers, they are trained with weapons and ruthlessly kill any target in sight without mercy. By the age of 17, they are ready for combat, marked with a tattoo on their face. The top soldier in this unit is Todd, and the year is now 1236. He has become a sergeant because he has never failed a mission despite the scars. He travels the world leading this special team in brutal battles during which they kill without remorse or pity. He cares only about the mission, not his teammates, and has never experienced normal human interaction. The commander behind this special unit is Crouch, who takes great pride in the success of his team and his best soldier. However, things take a turn when Colonel Mercure arrives at his base with an entirely new unit, explaining that they are genetically modified soldiers, nearly superhuman, and believes that Crouch should deactivate his program with veterans as they are obsolete. Crouch disagrees, emphasizing that nothing can surpass the years of experience of his soldiers. Mercure proposes a competition between both units to prove which one is superior. Mercure calls in Kane, one of his best, for the tests, and Kane quickly proves his superiority. He is more accurate with weapons and can lift more weight without tiring. In a race, Todd stays ahead for 20 minutes. However, when Kane starts running, he still manages to surpass Todd, even though he started much later. In the next test, Todd and Kane start climbing steel chains, and once again, Kane proves to be faster and superior. Then, Crutch wants to test their battle experience. He requests a fight on the chains. Mercure wants him to face 2 more soldiers who quickly join Todd, but it makes no difference. Kane is too strong and, with a few strikes, kills the 2 soldiers, throwing their bodies to the ground. Todd manages to resist a bit longer and jumps on Kane, injuring his face and puncturing his eye. Kane still fights and throws Todd into the pile of bodies on the ground. Mercure then wins as his soldier was superior, but he is furious with Kane because the injury means he is not perfect, and he spent a lot of money on him. Thinking Todd, his best man, is dead, Crutch accepts the new unit. Mercure then orders these bodies to be discarded like trash, and the giant ship transports all the waste to a planet called Arcadia. During the journey, Todd wakes up, and suddenly, the hatch of the ship opens to release all the garbage. Todd does his best to hold on, but still falls onto the planet. He manages to survive the fall and surveys the area. In the beginning, he climbs through the trash, but notices people moving around. Todd decides to follow them, but a sandstorm starts hitting the area, and Todd needs to hold on until it passes. Todd anticipates what will happen, exits the storm, enters a graveyard, and then arrives at what seems to be a colony built by these people from the garbage. He sneaks up the stairs, and a gust of wind throws Todd out. He ends up fainting when he notices a group of kids looking at him. The people in the colony discuss what to do with Todd. In the end, the leader decides they will help Todd, but Mace must keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, Todd is being taken care of by Mace's wife, Sandra. The couple has a young son named Nathan, who is curious about Todd, but they don't allow him to get too close. When Todd is finally feeling better, he finds the family smiling and having fun, something he has never experienced. Mace makes a crutch for him since he injured his leg, and Todd still doesn't respond. At night, the family takes Todd to the dining room for dinner, and everyone is suspicious of him because he eats a lot and doesn't say anything. When one of the Slade group asks about him, Todd explains that he was replaced by a better soldier. Although everyone is still wary of him, from then on, Todd spends his time with Sandra, learning to do basic everyday tasks, and Sandra takes this opportunity to teach him about the colony. These people were on a ship traveling to another planet until the ship broke down and they crash landed on Arcadia. This happened 3 years ago, and help never arrived, but Sandra says they now live in peace as they are not bothered. Meanwhile, McCool reveals that he has been monitoring the Arcadia system and wants to install monitoring facilities there. He also wants to send his new soldiers to patrol the area. If there are refugees, they will be classified as hostile, which, despite Crouch's disapproval, McCool is in charge. Back on Arcadia, Sandra is tending to the garden and teaches Todd to plant. Sandra kills a snake, explaining that they can be dangerous. Once one bit Nathan, and he was sick for several days, which is why he can't speak. Sometime later, Todd goes out with the men to collect things from the trash, and they keep chains connected to their belts. Suddenly, a very strong sandstorm hits the area, and Jimmy gets caught in the wind. The men try to pull the chain and end up dragging Jimmy to an old machine, and they don't have enough strength to pull him back. But Todd starts pulling the chain, and his strength alone is enough to save the man from the storm. Someone drops a weapon, and Todd picks it up, and despite Macy's suspicion, he thanks Todd for his help. A ship flies above them, and Todd becomes curious. But it is explained that the garbage disposal ship is making contact. Macy then asks for the weapon back, and Jimmy thanks Todd for saving him. Days pass and Todd gets used to life in the colony, working with the men, collecting garbage, and helping Sandra with household chores. One night, Todd is distracted and cuts his finger, but he doesn't feel pain. Until Sandra tends to his wound, she asks what the life of a soldier is like. Todd explains that it's always a mix of fear and discipline, making her realize that he has a sad life, and she embraces him for comfort. When Christmas arrives, the colony throws a party until some fireworks explode, and Todd mistakes them for gunshots. This triggers a quiet meltdown, and he begins to have flashbacks of all the horrible training he went through. Fearing what he might do, Todd hides on the roof and watches the party from a distance. The next day, Todd tries to control his violent training by punching a fuel tank. This continues to bring brutal memories full of death and destruction, and at this moment, Jimmy approaches to give a gift as a thank you, but Todd is still trapped in his memories and sees him as an enemy. He then shoves Jimmy and grabs him by the throat, almost killing him by throwing him into a machine, but fortunately, he regains control in time and realizes that many people are watching all of this. Now everyone is suspicious of him again, and Todd continues training until his hands bleed. He also remembers a day in a classroom where he ended up hitting his classmate, and his teacher just told him to keep going and show no mercy. Todd wakes up and finds Nathan nearby, showing him that he solved a puzzle. The snake appears, and Todd tries to teach Nathan to kill it, but Nathan freezes, and Todd picks up the snake but doesn't kill it, wanting Nathan to try again. However, Sandra and Mace arrive and kill the animal, reprimanding Todd for it. At this point, the colony has had enough. They tell Todd that he doesn't fit in the colony because of his extremely violent behavior, and he will become too dangerous, so they expel him. Todd gathers his things and walks away, surprised when he cries for the first time in his life. And that morning, Sandra and Mace are sleeping peacefully when a snake enters the bed, about to attack Mace. Nathan appears and kills the snake, as Todd taught him. Mace realizes that Todd was only doing the right thing and teaching the boy, and rushes to look for him, finding him hiding in the trash. He apologizes for what happened and invites him to return to the community. At that moment, a ship, full of soldiers from Mecca, arrives on the planet, which Todd knows is a military ship, making Mace flee with him. Soon, many vehicles and soldiers exit the ship, including Kane, and the colony sounds an alarm to take a defensive position. The soldiers are starting to attack, shooting at anything in sight. Explosions begin to occur everywhere, and Mace is hit by one of them, so Todd needs to drag him away. Todd tries to tend to Mace's wounds, but it's too late. Mace dies asking him to save his family. Croat receives the news about the refugees, but Mika orders his soldiers to kill everyone, even if they are civilians. As a precaution, Croat decides to prepare his former soldiers, and the leader of the colony goes out to try to communicate with the soldiers, but is shot immediately. The settlers open fire to defend their home, but their few weapons are not enough. Outnumbered against the powerful army. Soon, the soldiers are causing death and destruction in the town, and they also use flamethrowers to burn people to death. At this moment, Todd breaks through the roof and kills a soldier with a flamethrower. Then he collects weapons from the fallen bodies and goes after the other soldier, who is chasing Sandra and the kids, but Todd gets there in time and kills the guy with a rocket launcher. When another soldier starts shooting through the wall, Todd makes everyone duck before opening the door and firing another rocket to kill the soldier. Later, Todd grabs the soldier's communicator and sends a growl that could do that, and Crouch advises him to withdraw his men, and Maka agrees. The soldiers leave, and the colonists take advantage of the time to heal the wounded. Sandra stays and discovers that Mace is dead. Todd gathers as many weapons as he can find, paints his face, and prepares for his revenge. Todd then hides in secret and shoots one of the vehicles to cause confusion. They believe there is a rebel military force, and the soldiers go out to look for them. Todd attacks everyone without them noticing. One of the soldiers is pushed off the roof, and another has a snake thrown at him. Then, Todd hides in the water to stab a soldier and surprises two more with a machine gun. When more soldiers arrive as reinforcements, Todd starts shooting at all of them without caring about the shots coming back. It turns out he set a trap and is controlling the weapon with ropes from a distance because he placed some explosives there to kill a few men at the same time. At this moment, a sandstorm arrives, so Todd ties himself up while the wind takes away the last standing men. The last remaining soldiers are in the vehicles, so Todd jumps on one, shoots the soldiers, and opens the hatch, throwing explosives to kill the drivers. However, Kane is still in his truck, attacking the colony again, causing even more damage. To get close without suspicion, Todd steals a truck and goes after Kane, pretending to be from his team, so he crashes into his vehicle. Then they send a radio message to intimidate Maka. Kane jumps out of the truck and immediately grabs some medicine from his bag for his injuries. Todd goes in search of Sandra and the kids to rescue them, but Kane appears to fight him. They remember each other very well, and Todd wants revenge for what happened. So, they start exchanging blows, and both are very strong. But when a board falls on Kane and they end up near a fallen helicopter, Kane has the advantage, but Todd looks at a gun on the ground. This distracts Kane, so Todd uses a helicopter blade to injure Kane. Kane is still standing, so he punches him until he falls to the ground and grabs his neck to finally kill him. Moments later, Crud's old army arrives and finds Todd and the survivors, and they don't attack because he is still their former sergeant. Meanwhile, Mika realizes that he has lost all his men and orders Crud to take off without the elders. Crud protests and no longer wants to follow Mika's orders, so he immediately shoots and kills Crud. At that moment, the older unit enters the ship, captures Mika to take him to Todd, who is so scary that he makes Mika wet himself while begging. Later, Mika and his corrupt companions are thrown out of the ship and left on Arcadia, where a bomb they try to deactivate explodes and kills everyone on the planet. The ship takes off, and then it is revealed that the surviving colonists boarded the huge ship and are finally heading to the planet they were traveling to. Nathan looks for Todd and asks him to pick him up, and Todd finally experiences true affection, ending thus The Soldier of the Future, a science fiction and action classic from 1999. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.